Welcome back, everyone. We're picking things up this time right where we left off, doing some Slayer. We've just finished up a Blue Dragon task, and we're about to sell off some of our loot tabs so far. It's nothing too impressive, but it ends up price checking over 5 mil if you include the fortune item from the Penguin during the Vampire task. Most of this is from the Blue Dragon tasks, which are very worth doing in the Wildy for the chance of the Ancient Warrior patch. In our AFK time, we've been working on archaeology, completing the Zamarakian 1 collection to unlock the Abyssal Thread component. This unlocks the Pouch Protector relic once we combine it with a giant pouch, which simply prevents runecrafting pouches from degrading. This also marked us completing enough collections to advance to the assistant rank and start sending out research teams, as well as unlocking more of the shop. The main thing we're looking forward to in archaeology right now is getting the auto screener at 70, which will be great for the AFK ability of the skill. Meanwhile, in our player-owned farm, we collected our first set of chinchompas, which got us up to 60 farming, as well as selling off for 2,500 beans. We're currently working towards the cedar side and its upgrade, so in a couple of weeks we'll have both of those secured. Okay, so I'm going to go over what my current morning routine kind of looks like. The plan is to get the 2 caches of the day done out the way so I don't need to worry about them. That gives me about 50 minutes between them to do stuff like checking the farm. I also do shop runs. Unfortunately, I did my shop runs yesterday. I did them last night, and I did them so late that it was actually over the reset, so I've missed out a shop run, which is a lot of money to be losing at this stage, but if I keep on top of that, that will bring in a lot of cash. And I also do my daily challenges, which for today was fletching, firemaking, and dungeoneering. So I need to go pick up 12 chinchompas to put in here, and then go do a dungeoneering floor. Once we were done with our morning activities for today, we got back into Slayer. So we picked up a new task of fire giants and got to business. We ended up getting up to 60 Slayer, which is a very important level for my plans because it unlocks Aberrant Spectres, which is going to be one of my methods for training range due to their incredible herb and seed drops, which make them quite profitable. That task also got us the Slayer points we needed to be able to craft Slayer helms. So we picked that up along with all of the items we need, and unfortunately forgot that it has a crafting level requirement as well. Undeterred, we carried on to our Calphite task, where we got 75 magic. So this is the goal we were going for. This lets us equip Vanquish. We're still a few quest points off of that, so I decided to go and check the GE to see what the price of some staffs like the Aram staff or the Staff of Light were, because those are tier 70 and 75 options. Aram staff is over 20 mil, and the Staff of Light is 6 mil. So we'll be just sitting tight until we get 150 quest points for Vanquish. So to wrap up our Slayer grind, we got up to 62 Slayer, 75 magic, and we have this deceptively large looking loot tab. Most of it's not worth a huge amount, but it adds up to quite a fair bit, and overall in our wealth evaluator we're approaching 40 mil on the account. As part of our efforts towards increasing our reputation with Menaphos, we're doing soul obelisks and corrupted scarabs. I was gonna just cut down Acacia trees, but turns out this is way faster reputation. Okay, so we're here in our player-owned house, and we're building a pawnbroker, and we're building a diving suit. I do have 1 prom point to spend, so I'm going to gain baitless fishing. And now we can go fish at Menaphos without using bait, which means I've basically ticked every box to start AFK fishing in Menaphos, which is what I'm going to be doing tonight. To get to 55 crafting so that we can make our Slayer helm, we decided to do emerald necklaces. These are pretty reasonable profit should we sell them, but they're also useful for making signs of the porter in the future. So for now, we'll make a bunch of them, about 2200, and then we'll either sell on them or just sell them off if we need the money. Unfortunately, you can't actually store gold or silver bars in a furnace until you've done the Family Crest quest. Well, this will be a lot quicker once there's gold bars in the furnace, and I'm doing 28 in inventory instead of 14. So I'm going to use that as an excuse to go do the Family Crest. Unfortunately, we first need to hit 40 smithing, so time to train that a little bit. And that is the Family Crest complete, which allows us to store silver and gold in our ore box and metal bank. I don't know why you had to do this quest to do that specifically. Otherwise, it gives us the family gauntlets, which I think the only ones of these that are useful nowadays are the cooking gauntlets. I don't know if the smelting gauntlets actually have any particularly beneficial effect. They used to give bonus XP when smelting gold, but I'm assuming that's not the case anymore. Okay, I just checked the wiki, and unless it's not been updated in quite a while, then the cooking gauntlets do work on most fish, including specifically, in our case, the Menaphos fish. And that is 55 crafting done. I think I overbought emeralds just a little bit. I kind of always forget you get so many buffs when you just do skilling in this area. So yeah, we bought about 100 more than we needed to. That's fine. So we can now make our Slayer mask. So if we use Spiny helmet on a black mask, we get a Slayer helmet, and then we can add the focus sight and the Hex Crest and get a full Slayer helmet. This provides the Slayer bonuses of the black mask, Hex Crest, and focus sight, so you can use it with all three styles. Provides a bit of armor, and also provides the protection of the items that you added to it. With our Slayer helm made, the only thing left to do is go for Vanquish. So we're doing Fremnik Trials, and in our fight against Koshie, I just pull out my Adamant Pickaxe on the tool belt. Not the most ideal weapon because we can't use most of our thresholds, but it gets the job done, and the rest of the quest is no problem. We're doing this because we're going for Lunar Diplomacy to unlock another rune shop and buff our shop runs. So I heard Elvarg was a challenge, and I assumed he would scale to your level. I'm assuming the latter isn't true because this fight was a complete joke with a Gothic stuff. So that's Dragon Slayer done, and honestly, why is everything in lamps? And that is Rune Mysteries done, and assuming we've got all the requirements, I'm just going to go straight on and do Rune Memories. And that's Rune Memories complete. This is a really long quest. Good bit of story, but like so much running back and forth. If they could just, like, if they were able to condense this just a bit so you had to do just a little less running, it would have been a really good quest. Next up on the list was Imp Catcher. The Amulet of Accuracy is pretty useful for an Iron Man, but unfortunately not that useful for us. At least we can okay, I guess. Quickly did Pirate's Treasure for a couple easy quest points. And yeah, not that much from this quest, but it's a fun little one to do. And that quest also took us over 125 quest points, so we can claim our next rewards from May's Caravan, which is a tier 2 dice, I believe. So 500k and a medium quest item, which is another fortunate component. So quick, easy 2 mil there. Next up was Roving Elves, and it may seem like I'm a bit all over the place with the quest choices, but generally I'm going for decent quest points and also requirements for certain quest lines I want to work towards, such as Plague's End and the Pirate quest line. On the note of a bunch of quest points, here's Sheep Herder. Catapult construction complete. I don't know how you do this quest now if you don't know what railings to click on. They did some kind of graphical update in this area, and all the railings look perfectly fine. So unless you have a map of which ones to click, you're kind of out of luck, it seems. Dwarf Cannon complete. This will be a lot more useful once we can actually afford the insane prices of cannonballs, but for now, not really going to be using a cannon anytime soon. We then went and did Horror from the Deep, which gives you access to the God books. We decided to take the Saradomin God book because its pages are quite cheap and its effect is quite powerful. So in RS3, the God books are a pocket slot item instead of an offhand item, and you charge them using their pages to get extra effects. An example of the Saradomin God book, the effect is a random lightning strike on your opponent, essentially. And it's a really great, cheap pocket slot item to have access to. The Golem complete. And the Golem leads straight into Shadow of the Storm, which gives us Dark Light, 10k combat XP, and some quest points. Well, a quest point. And a nice quick free quest points for doing Murder Mystery. Next up, In Search of the Myrique. Do I have enough requirements to do an aid of the Myrique? I do, so I'll move straight onto this one. But first up, Shades of Morton. This makes doing some of the stuff in the Myrique questline a bit easier. Okay, an aid of the Myrique completed. I completely butchered doing this quest. It took way longer than it should have done. But 2 quest points, some XP, access to temple trekking, which if I were an Iron Man and this was like maybe 5+ years ago, would be really important. But yeah, the main thing is we're continuing with the vampire questline. Okay, so the Darkness of Hallervale picks up literally right here. We've got all the requirements, there's no combat to do, and it will get us the last 2 quest points we need for Vanquish. This is a really long quest, and considering how long it just took me to do an aid of the Myrique, I'm pretty sure this is going to take me quite a while because I'm just kind of not with it right now. But this is like the perfect setup for actually getting this quest done and not just putting it off for a week. And that is the Darkness of Hallervale complete, which, I'll be honest, I was expecting. You can probably tell by my inventory, I was expecting so much worse from that quest, but we got it done. So, important unlocks from this are the Berg the Rot half of temple trekking, so we now have the full minigame unlocked if we wanted to farm that. We have a shortcut key for Modech. I don't remember if this is actually that useful, because you get Dragon's Medallion, not too many quests ahead. And a bunch of XP. Now we have 150 quest points, so we can grab ourselves another dice, which turns into another Fortunate Component and 500k, and we can grab ourselves the Armor of Trials and Vanquish. The Armor of Trials itself isn't that useful because it's not power armor and it's hybrid, so it's 15 levels below what its stated level is. So for example, the tier 50 version acts as tier 35 armor for all styles. Vanquish, however, is a free tier 75 weapon for all styles, which, considering the price of other staves right now, very, very useful. Now we've got a tier 75 weapon, it's a great time to start getting into some Reaper tasks. By heading over to Death's office, we can grab a Grim Gem and start taking Reaper tasks from him. These tasks are great because they give Reaper points. And when you get 300 Reaper points, you can buy a Hydrex, which sells for like 80 mil. So that's going to be our goal when it comes to doing Reapers. Do them daily, get a Hydrex, make some bank. And right next to Death's office is War's Retreat. This place has a ton of useful features in it that you unlock by getting boss kills. One of those features is in the back, a couple of boss teleports. We're going to be using one of these to get to our first Reaper, which is Barrows. And let's just head off and see what we get from our first Barrows trips. And that seems like a good place to end this episode. It's a bit of a shorter one this time, but I'm going to start trying something where I do 2 shorter episodes a week instead of the 1 longer episode. It'll result in more content in total and get me through my clips a bit quicker, and allows me to get more frequent feedback from you guys. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone watching. If you got to this point in the video, you probably enjoyed it, so you know what to do. And thank you all for helping us pass 1,000 subscribers. As always, I'll catch you next time.